My will explain more about it. We're going to talk about the SME engagement project, a collective proposal we are going to put together, and how local networks can engage. So our objective for today is to introduce to you guys, to our local networks, this effort to create a collective proposal around SME engagement and explain to you what is the role that local networks can play in this process and the role that we want you to play. The expectations for this webinar today is for you to have an overall understanding of what the project is, what are the next steps, where are we currently in this process, and what are the ways in which you can engage in this project. We will talk specifically also about the survey among our local networks. I will dedicate a few minutes to talk about the survey. So hopefully at the end of the call, you will have a clear understanding of what this survey is all about. Even if you have filled it out already or if you haven't, you will have a clear understanding on why we are doing this survey and what is it that we're going to do with the results afterwards. Lastly, in this slide, it is not an objective for today to collect your individual feedback or your individual opinions on SME engagement in the Global Compact. That is not to say your opinions and your comments on this topic are not important. On the contrary, we want to make sure that all those opinions and comments are collected in a way that is systematic and is collected in a way that we can use afterwards. So the collection of your individual comments on this topic will be done throughout the next about 7 to 8 months, and I'm going to explain what is going to be the process that we are going to follow for you guys to provide your individual comments. I'm checking my question box or my chat box in case any of you have any questions. Please do so at any time. Raise your hand or type a question if you wish to speak, to say something. So let's talk a little bit about SMEs in the Global Compact. Why are we focusing on SMEs and why this specific segment of our participants have caught our attention and has been a focus for us? SMEs, as some of you might experience also locally, but from the global level, what we know is that they are not fully engaged at various levels. They are not engaged in reporting, for example. They are not engaged in our initiatives. They are a minority of the participants in issue-specific initiatives. They are harder to get engaged in our events. So they are not engaged. Yet, yes, SMEs are the majority of our participants. By that, I mean currently they are about 60% of our full participant base. And they are the majority of the expulsions. And by that, I mean they represent about 80% of the companies that are being expelled. So again, those numbers, so you have the picture in mind. They represent 60% of our participant base, but they represent 80% of the companies that are being expelled from the initiative due to lack of reporting. Now, the Global Compact has taken numerous efforts and actions over the years to try to engage and enhance the participation of SMEs in our initiative. Some of the most recent actions the Global Compact Office has taken was hiring a team of relationship managers. This was done in the year 2013, at the beginning, we hired a full team of relationship managers. They have been focusing their attention in supporting SME participants. We have created tools and materials that are directed specifically to SMEs. In my team in reporting, we have created workshops, guidances, online tools, etc. We have also experimented with a moratorium, which, if you remember, was an extension of the deadline for SMEs. We thought if maybe we are more flexible in our deadlines with SMEs, in addition to the relationship managers, to the materials, we thought that would have an impact on SMEs. These are only a few of the activities that have been taken recently. At the board level of the Global Compact, there have been other activities. The board has created working groups, they have created consultant activities, they have entered into partnerships with other organizations. And the reality is that we have not achieved the results that we want to achieve around SMEs. SMEs continue to not be engaged, fully engaged in our initiative. They continue to not report, and they continue to be expelled at very large rates. At the beginning of last year, the Global Compact decided to create an SME working group. This working group was composed of high management in our initiative. We include some members of the LNAC back then, of the local network advisory group, and the role of this group was to conduct a thorough examination of what is the situation with SMEs in the Global Compact and to provide some recommendations for the initiative to pursue. Now, part of the work of this working group was to do desk research, whatever literature is available on the topic, but also conducting in-person and over the phone interviews with experts on the topic and with relevant stakeholders, such as local networks. Some local networks were interviewed as part of the process. We even hired an external consultant who came, and we had a workshop around the topic of SME. Now, the conclusions of that working group, which ended in December 2014, last year, the conclusions were SMEs require more specialized and direct support. We are creating some specialized resources and some specialized support, but the reality is that SMEs require a lot of specialization and focus in order to be able to address their specific needs. So more specialization in the support we're providing is needed. The Global Compact office from here, New York and 42nd Street, we are not positioned to support all SMEs efficiently. There are obstacles that we simply cannot overcome from our New York offices. There are language components, there are cultural components, there are the context of the country are things that from New York is very difficult for us to overcome. The Global Compact Office, however, can provide some type of support through some materials, through some resources. One example of that is simplifying certain processes for SMEs. That is something that our office can do. And another finding of this working group was the local networks are uniquely positioned to support SMEs on the ground. Let me move on to the next slide. So again, the working group last year concluded the Global Compact Office will continue to explore ways to enhance SME participation. The SME engagement will not be possible without some sort of participation from our local networks. Each local network has a different approach. One size does not fit all. and efforts should revolve around SME engagement and reporting. These are the main conclusions from last year's work around SME engagement. Now, the portion about local networks is very clear in terms of the specificity that each local network faces in their context. It's not the same thing to look at a local network which has a full office with 5 6 people dedicated to supporting participants who can afford to travel to the regions and visit SMEs. That's one type of local network, and we have a few local networks like that. And the type of strategy and support that a local network like that can offer to SMEs is completely different to the support that a smaller local network can provide. We have local networks that have only one person as the representative of the local network. That person is the only one conducting all the activities, etc. So we are very conscious of the differences in capacity by our local networks. We are also conscious about the differences in the strategies of local networks. Some local networks have within their strategy and within their vision the commitment to work with SMEs. And they say SMEs are the majority of the participants in my country, and they are a segment that is bringing value, etc. And they focus and they target their work to SMEs. We have other local networks, however, that say, look, SMEs are important, but the amount of resources that are needed to truly efficiently support SMEs is beyond my capacity and beyond from what I want to do. My focus is what some of these local networks say is to support larger participants and dedicate my resources to that segment, trying to support SMEs as is possible. But the focus is on larger companies. Both approaches that I've described kind of opposites in terms of what we are seeing in our local networks. Both approaches are fine, and anything in between is valid. Now, we have to work within this work of SME. We are conscious that we have to work taking all these considerations in mind. I see I have a question, and I'm going to read it out loud. I think it's an important comment. More importantly, the comment says, structure of SMEs in the particular country. For example, industrial SMEs as part of global value chains versus SMEs as small wholesalers and service providers. This comment is crucial in the discussion that we are having, because it's not the same having an SME that has Coca-Cola, that is tier 1 provider of Coca-Cola, than having the restaurant in the corner here on 42nd Street, which is mom and pop business and there are 6 children working there. It's completely different. And it's completely different when we talk about different sectors and different positioning within the supply chain. Even SMEs that are within supply chains is not the same thing being first tier supplier than being third tier supplier, because the expectations and the requirements from the clients are different when you are a first tier or third tier. So this comment is crucial. When we were doing our research last year among our SME participants, we found that size of the SME is another determinant in the level of participation of the SME in our initiative. So the comment mentions sector, positioning in value chain. I would add size of SME seems to be relevant. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in a moment. If you have any other questions, please type it like you guys just did. That works pretty well. Okay, so the conclusion of our work in 2014 was, let me go back one slide to highlight the main point here. The conclusion was we will continue to work on this topic. We will now, the next phase is engage local networks and start taking the temperature and see how far are local networks willing to go. Okay, and considering their particular situation, and the work is going to be around engagement and reporting. Here in the engagement versus reporting thing, I would like to say one sentence, and it's when we started perceiving SMEs as a serious area of concern. There were a group of people in our initiative that were contacting us saying, look, guys, SMEs are being expelled at alarming high rates. And they are expelled because they do not report. They do not report because they find very difficult the reporting activity. Therefore, why doesn't the Global Compact Office just either eliminates the reporting requirement for SMEs or simplifies the COP policy for SMEs in a way that they just have to do one click. For example, instead of having to answer 3 questions, let's have them answer 1 question. And we heard that argument from many, many places, from board members, from high management in our office, from local networks. But in the study that we conducted throughout 2014, we discovered that reporting is not the cause. Of course, reporting is very visible because if they don't report, they end up being expelled. But reporting is not the cause, but rather a symptom for the lack of engagement of SMEs in our initiative. And the fear of some other stakeholders is if we lower the bar in reporting, we might be just putting a little band-aid on an injury, let's put it that way, that is way deeper than that. And we might not have the effect that we want, which is better engagement, just by simplifying reporting. So that's why we are adding the engagement component in this whole exercise. So we are going to continue working with SMEs. What are the next steps? When we concluded our study in 2014, we reached out to the LNAG, to the Local Network Advisory Group, and we told them, look, LNAG friends, these are our conclusions. We want to continue working around SMEs. We want to find some sort of strategy, but we really want to engage local networks in this process. How do we do this? How do we go about it? So in many discussions with the LNAG, we decided we will create a collective proposal to be presented to the board in January 2016. And I apologize here for the typo. It says January 2015 in the slide, but it's January 2016. I will correct this before distributing the slides. The collective proposal will be, of course, creating a collective proposal with 90 local networks, everybody in a different part of the world, it requires some effort. But we want to ensure that in that collective proposal, all local networks have the opportunity to provide their views and their preferences. Now, we are opening a lot of opportunities for you guys to provide your views. One word of caution that I would say is your responsibility to take advantage of those opportunities. We will open the floor for you, but if you don't speak up, we will not get your thoughts. We will not be able to include your preferences. And I'm going to elaborate on what are going to be those opportunities for you to participate. The final deliverable to present to the board is going to be a detailed proposal with an implementation plan, not just a proposal without any foot on the ground, but an implementation plan around local SME engagement, and if it's needed and if it's applicable, a revision of the COP policy for SMEs. But all that will come out of the consultation with you, local networks, and in some consultations we are also going to do with SMEs themselves. And of course, the whole proposal will take into account the local networks' strategies and priorities. Now, the way we are going to get there, so the final deliverable will be ready in January 2016. The steps to get there are, and we have 9 steps. I'm not going to read every single detail. You will have the opportunity of revising these when you receive the slides. We have created a task force, and we invited, it was an open invitation to every single local network. It went out in an email from Walid Nagy a few months ago to every single representative of a local network, explaining what this is all about and opening the opportunity to engage in the task force. The task force will coordinate all of the next steps that you are seeing here in the slide. The invitation, after the invitation, we received responses of people who were curious, some others who were interested in engaging right away. So right now, the task force is formed by the LNAG members, plus Brazil, Japan, Mexico, and Spain. If any of you wishes to be part of this task force, please contact me. You will have my contact information at the end of the presentation. Contact me and I can make sure that you are included in the task force. We are conducting a survey of all local networks. You have received it. We will talk about it in a minute. We are doing a webinar among local networks. This is it. We are explaining what is going on. We are going to conduct a survey among a sample of SMEs. This is an area where we're going to recruit the help of interested local networks. We are then going to aggregate and analyze the results of the survey, and we're going to present those results plus all of the previous background research we have done. We will present that in the ALNF. You will be here in June. Most of you will be here in June for the ceremony and for the annual local network forum. We will present the results there. Also in June, right after the ALNF, you guys will be having regional meetings. So we will have a session in each one of those regional meetings, collecting additional feedback from you and validating the results of the survey. We want to make sure that whatever the numbers from the survey say are accurate and are reflecting the position of the local networks. After having collected your initial feedback, the survey, and then validation from you in person, we, the Global Compact Office plus LNAG plus Task Force, we will draft a proposal and an implementation plan. That proposal and implementation plan will be socialized with the local networks in the regional meetings that will take place late in the year. Around September, October, you guys will having your own regional meetings in your regions. There we will have sessions to discuss the draft proposal. After those meetings, we will create a final proposal, and then in January, the proposal will go out to the board of directors. Now let's talk a little bit about the survey. I'm gonna give 5 seconds to see if there are any questions, if you guys have any questions so far. I don't see any, so let's continue and let's talk a little bit about the survey. The initial plan here for today was for me to share with you a little bit what have been the results of the survey so far. But I decided not to do that because I don't want to skew your responses. If you guys have not participated in the survey, I don't want to taint your vision, and I prefer you go to the survey with your own opinions before knowing what others have been saying. The countries that you see highlighted in the darker green have been the ones that have responded the survey already. We have about 40 responses. This morning we have a couple additional ones. As I said, for us it is crucial that you guys participate in this survey as well as in the discussions that will come after the survey, because it is our way of opening the floor for you to participate and to give you your input into what are your views and your preferences around this important topic. The individual answers of the survey will be confidential. We are asking for you to identify yourself because we need to know, we need to keep track of who has participated, and we internally need to know who has answered. But we will not publicize individual answers. Now, it's very important that you keep in mind there are no right or wrong answers. It doesn't matter if you say, yes, we want to work fully with SMEs, or if you say, no, I don't want to work with SMEs. It is not right or wrong. We are just measuring what are your preference, what is your strategy, what is your vision for the next 2-3 years of the work of your local network with SMEs. So when you answer, we don't want you to feel that you should be answering in a certain way. The survey is fairly short. I would say some of you have done it already. I hope you found it easy to respond. It has 4 parts, about 15 or less multiple answer questions. And as I said, the aggregate results will be presented at the LANF in New York and will be validated in regional meetings. I'm going to explain very quickly what are these 4 parts. The first one is an introduction. This is the way it looks like. If you have a smartphone, you can actually respond the survey in your smartphone as you commute in the train. So we try to make it easy for you. We have only 2 languages. Unfortunately, our resources are very constrained, and for now we only have it in English and Spanish. So if you happen to be a Spanish-speaking local network, you can choose Spanish. So this is the introduction. It explains what we're doing. It also asks you to identify yourself. As I said, not to publish individual answers. The second part of the survey is around SME engagement in the Global Compact. The third one is around SME reporting. And the fourth part is about your specific activities and engagement with SMEs. Each one of these 3 sections have around 5 questions, not more than 5 for each one of the sections. And as you see, the survey follows all of the findings that we have been having in our process researching SMEs. About engagement, we don't believe it's only a problem about reporting, but about engagement. It has a section about reporting, because even though reporting is not the only problem, it is a very important component and is the most visible one. So there are questions around reporting, only 5 or 4. And lastly, we ask about your engagement. And here is an explanation about what I said before. Some local networks do want to engage with SMEs and they see it strategically important for them. Others, on the other hand, prefer not to dedicate a lot of resources to SMEs because they don't consider that to be of strategic importance at the moment. For them, it's not right or wrong. We need to know what you are thinking about around this topic. Now, the next steps, and this is my last slide, is for you to make your voice heard participating in this process. You can join our task force if you want to do so. Please contact me. You can answer the survey. You're strongly encouraged to answer the survey. This process will continue with whoever participates. So it is recommended that you participate because the process will continue. Fill out the survey if you have not done so. Bring to the ALNF and to the regional meetings your ideas, if you have them structured or not structured, but bring your ideas on how the Global Compact as a whole, not only our office, not only local networks, but how we as an initiative can collectively design a strategy to effectively enhance SME participation. And when you do so, when you think on ideas, please also keep in mind the component of how feasible these ideas are. Can we realistically do something like this? How much resources would we need? And then we can all evaluate what is the best way to go forward. And then reach out to us if you have any questions. As I said, this is my project along with other colleagues in the office, but I'm leading this effort. You can feel free to contact me at any time on any of these steps, and I'll be very happy to help you and provide details. Again, my name is Ana Blanco. You can contact me, and my email is here. You will be receiving these slides very shortly. If you have any questions, please do so now. And if not, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. If there are no more questions, thank you very much. Please reach out to us if you have questions, if you want to engage, and don't forget to fill out the survey. The survey will close a week from now. Next Wednesday, the survey will close in the evening of New York time. So you have a few days to answer it, but don't leave it for the last minute. There are no more questions. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your attention, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.